All right, there we go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are ready to go here on the Wayne Dupree Show. It's 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July 16th, Wednesday, hump day. And we are live, broadcasting on many of the platforms, and happy to do so. And also on Red Voice Media, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 12 to 1 Eastern Standard Time. But you can download us on your playlist. You can also add us. You can look for us on other platforms. Sooner or later, we'll be able to give you a little bit more information, but whenever that is available. But we're here. We're happy to be here. And it's our Wednesday, Wayne and Jason's Thursday. Okay, I like that, Becky. I like that. And K-Gun Girl, too. All right. Real quick, please share the show wherever you're watching, however you're watching. Make sure you're sharing the show. We're gonna talk about a little bit and a lot, and we only have 58 minutes to do so. So, Jason, what's up? Jason from Minnesota.
Hey, folks. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Wayne Dupree Podcast. Like my friend and the host said, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a share. Helps the show get reach. And geez, Wayne, I don't know about you, but man, there's plenty of stuff to talk about today. Holy cow.
Yeah, we're going to start off with what is hot. President Trump on Truth Social this morning called out old supporters on his on his timeline, basically. Let's see.
You gonna pull it up or?
Let's see. Is this it? No. Oh, he's tweeting a lot this morning.
Yeah.
He is really tweeting a lot. Okay. And you know what? I've been there for a little bit. It's like you tweet out something or you post something and you're like, okay, this isn't going to be popular. So then you post like 10 or 11 things right after that. So it sinks it down into timeline. And that's what he's doing right now. He's posting a lot about what he's doing. But here it is. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. Actually, no, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom, and even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. Is all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this bullshit. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. I have had more success in 6 months than any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Jason, thoughts?
You know, as of last night, I saw Trump give a couple interviews saying everybody wants transparency, we'll release it. I'm like, okay, this is great. Get it out there. Nobody's going to be happy with whatever's released, but at least we can move on. And then I read this post and I'm like, okay, folks, it's time to start day drinking. Let's go. That post aside, I was comfortable with where we landed. I'm like, okay, this is good. And then he throws that out there, and I'm like, somebody take the man's phone. Like, come on. I mean, I haven't drank much in years, but is today the day I got to start day drinking? Like, let's go. And yeah. I don't know. I was gonna take my Split Rock Coffee, splitrockcoffee.com, use promo code Wayne. Disabled vets, owned and operated. Shout out Paul Reese. Put a little vodka in there, you'll be good. But then they'll call me being a Russian spy. I'm just saying. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this message. The fact of the matter is, Trump supporters were born because of a distrust of the government.
Right.
We're the people that didn't believe the JFK story, or the Jack Root, like Harry Oswald's murder. We didn't believe any of that. We thought 9/11 there was some shenanigans, don't know what. And part of why we trusted Trump, he was a political outsider, and he went in, and legitimately he has done many wonderful things for the country. I wish he would have got more done his first term. I think his second term, other than this recent drama, I think the guy's done bang up. Like, the border's going right. The deportations are going good. He's getting his legislation passed. He's getting things done. I understand his frustration about the Epstein thing. And it's kind of an unwinnable battle, I think, for the administration.
Now it is. I mean, it could have been a winnable battle, but now it is.
Right. Well, I think the problem is, even when they release the files, none of us, and I won't speak for everybody, but myself, and I think many people that share my opinion, is like, until somebody's held accountable other than Jeffrey and Giselle, like, we just won't be happy.
Nope.
And I think the Democrats have done a pretty effective job messaging this and clamping onto it. And there will be some file release. They've totally botched the entire communication piece. But then once it gets released, nobody's going to be happy. There's going to have to be some things redacted because of court cases. Nobody's going to be happy. At the end of the day, nobody's getting arrested, I think, is what this signals. And that's going to make many of us disillusioned about the process. Like, you can't convict 5 people that were clients of his. I mean, come on. So yeah, it's tough, and it's overshadowing so many wins. I mean, they shut down USAID. They're firing a bunch of people that worked at the Department of Education. The Department of Education might get unfunded. They passed the recession bill, which is a bunch of Doge stuff, cutting NPR, that kind of thing. And yesterday JD Vance had to cast the tie-breaking vote, and nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about Epstein, and it's really tragic.
Here's my thing. President Trump said to move on, right? Basically, a couple of days ago. So when he's asked a question by the media, he could say, move on.
Right.
But he continues to throw that out there. Like yesterday during the watch guide, when I do I have it? I think I have it. It wasn't that I can say that it wasn't the Dems. It wasn't the Dems that asked the question. The media asked the question, but President Trump could have shut him down, but he just added more to it. And many other so-called influencers or whatnot, they're coming out and said, okay, we're not going to talk about this anymore. We're not going to talk about it. We're done. We're whatever. But then he comes out and says the stuff.
Oh my God. If he didn't put out that post today, I was very comfortable with how things were. Last night, he gave a couple interviews. He said, hey, we're going to release it. We got to move on. We got other stuff to do. Department of Justice handling it.
Yeah.
I think people would still be upset. I don't know why that was one of, like, Donald Trump has done a lot of great posts on social media, a lot of funny posts, a lot of good posts. He's navigated things well. I give his second term an A for what he's got done. But man, this one is this has been a fumble from Jump Street. So, and I don't, you take that message out, I think we're in a pretty okay spot. But then
the last part.
Yeah, that last part,
Yeah.
And I think what's going to happen, I mean, and this isn't like rocket science. Epstein was arrested, 2019? And
that's the thing, Jason, some of the people on Instagram are even posting, they were like, it's like people keep talking about the Dems, the Biden administration. Jeffrey Epstein died during Trump's first administration. He offed himself, and you bring up Barr, but I mean, there's some questions that need to be asked. Barr didn't really do a big time investigation in it. Why? Because Jason they did a deep dive in this stuff. This stuff didn't happen, but the way that the narrative is being put on social media, they think that Jeffrey Epstein, all this stuff happened during the Biden administration. No, this stuff happened before Biden got in. Now,
correct.
Was it a first priority of Biden? Probably not. No, because many people think there's a whole lot of Dems that are on the thing. So why? I mean, let sleeping dogs lie. We're not going to bother it. But then when you come out during the campaign, the presidential campaign, somebody printed out President Trump's things that he promised on a list, and it didn't have the Jeffrey Epstein file thing. That was a television interview.
Right.
It was a television interview. And because I like to be straight with everybody, honestly, he never said he was going to release the files. He didn't. To be honest, he didn't. He said, well, we'll see. That's what he said.
Yeah, he never made it a campaign promise. It was something that came up in an interview. And he said, yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, what's going to bother me most about all of this is that not a single Jeffrey Epstein customer will be convicted. I mean, it's been 4, 5, 6 years, plenty of time to get cases, to put things together. And that's not, I mean, I'm just realizing, like, reality is setting in for me. That's not going to happen. And whatever disclosure they give us, nobody's going to be okay with. It's like the video released, it turns out now there's like 3 of Epstein's cell, or the entrance to the cell. Turns out there's like 3 or 4 minutes missing from that. And it's like, wow, this is crazy. And I don't know. I don't know if Donald Trump understands that, his constituents, the people that supported him, I think many of us want to see somebody held accountable. It's not even about the list. I mean, everybody says list, release the files. Like, just arrest a few people. Can we start there? And yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. And I mean, again, you want to shut this thing down, the White House has to stop talking about it.
Right.
And just start talking about the wins and stuff. I mean, when I was growing up, Washington, D.C., no comment was the main thing. No comment. No comment. No comment. I ain't got nope. I can't get nothing from me. No comment. But now it's like, I mean, dude, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out. You got Matt Gaetz coming out. You even had Mike Johnson coming out last night. I know you said Mike Johnson came out later, yesterday afternoon, and said that Bondi should release whatever she has. She came out after President Trump did this.
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen, and I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
It had something to do with the stuff now. I really do. Jason, if you could link to your article or whatnot, I think people should read that. Your deep dive is what I'm talking about. Because Barr was against, toward the end, Barr kind of turned on Trump, So I mean it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it happened under Barr's watch. But again, with this, I'm watching some people. They're the way that they're crafting what I just read, and these are MAGA people. These aren't Democratic people. Democrats. These are MAGA people. They're like Trump throwing his base under the bus. That's our side saying that. And when you read it, it's like, wait a minute, bruh. When you ran in 2016, same thing you said. I thought about it too. When you ran in 2016, you said the silent majority doesn't have to be silent again. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. When you start to shut people up, that's not cool. I just point blank. That's not cool. And somebody on my timeline was like, they were like, "What more do you want? He said, don't talk about it no more. Let's not talk. It's the Dems that are bringing this stuff up. Y'all are." She didn't say y'all. She was like, President Trump said what was there. Move on. I was like, some people do the go along, follow along because they're told to. I'm not getting mad with you. But then there's others that are rebels. And MAGA, the base, in 2016 had questions. They had questions. And because they had questions, the Republicans weren't answering them. So they needed a warrior to go up there and bull in the china shop, go through the mess. Even though they sabotaged him with guardrails with the establishment, Reince Priebus and them put their people in, their good old boys in, and they kind of stifled him a little bit. But see, you know what, too? That's what I don't get too. Everybody that's up there is loyal to him. This time around, everybody. That means that he could put those files out there. Yes, sir. Got it. Straight up. Do it. And they won't question it. Yeah. A lot of people have been.
Like I say, that interview we did that he gave last night, where he was talking about it, she'll release whatever he thinks credible. It was funny. I was prepping this morning. I was looking at things. What are we going to talk about on the podcast? I'm like, okay, this is a good spot. And as of like 8:00 this morning, having breakfast with the wife, I'm like, this is great. Like Trump's finally getting it. He's going to release files. I'm like, the biggest issue will be people, whatever isn't disclosed, people are still going to want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And once again, no prosecutions are going to happen. So people are going to be really displeased with that. And I'm like, I can see where people still talk about, oh, nobody gets arrested, blah, blah, blah. But then when he drops that True Social post, I'm like, that might be the worst post Like, I don't even understand what the hoax is. Is a hoax?
I don't either.
Like with the Russia Kaluza hoax, I get it. He
Right.
wasn't an asset of Russia. The P-tape hoax, he didn't, like, that was made up. Like, I get all the hoaxes. Donald Trump, please explain to us how this is a hoax. You had a billionaire who owned an island and multiple properties, trafficking young girls, and was arrested for it, and then killed himself in custody. Like, what's the hoax? Like, everybody can draw the conclusion that he had some customers. Like, arrest some customers. Like, that's all we're saying.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. I'm hoping he clarifies what he means by hoax, but yeah.
And looking at his timeline, like I said, that's being pushed down. And
Right. Yeah, he's trying to move past that.
Yeah, I'm
if he
done.
deletes it, it's even worse. Then it becomes a bigger
I
story.
know, because it's already out there. I mean,
right.
Wait a minute. Did he put it on Twitter too?
I don't know if he put it on Twitter. I know it's been all over Twitter on screenshots.
Okay.
And I think, Trump's handling of the Epstein thing isn't good. Like, it will be a disappointment if nobody gets arrested. I will feel bad, but I do not think that it won't change really that much how I
doesn't
feel
the
about
question but doesn't the question above the law come up in that case?
Yeah, there are people above the law. I think that's what we're learning.
Yeah. So
I mean, the fact that no customers are going to go to jail of Jeffrey Epstein pretty much demonstrates like what we all thought was true. There are people that are above the law. Nancy Pelosi isn't going to jail for insider trading. I mean, they're announcing some, they're announcing investigations like Adam Schiff mortgage fraud. Like, the mortgage fraud Adam Schiff did was worse than they convicted Donald Trump for 34 felonies. I don't believe he's.
And guess what? Some of us knew about that before he got to the Senate. My friend out in California, the one that I was telling you about, she told me.
Oh, right.
She told me about his dealings in Maryland and stuff like that. But he got put in the Senate. Because,
right. Can I say an interesting thing too off the Epstein thing? So if you want to know what a fraud Elon is.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're coming with that one.
How many tweets have you seen from Elon about the recession package that passed the Senate yesterday? I haven't seen one. I looked on his timeline this morning. So the Doge cuts he was crying about, and he's quick to jump on everything. And I like Elon. I think he's been a net positive, right? But if you want to understand how much of a fraud he is, we have not seen nor heard one peep. Now, let's check his timeline. Like, somebody might say, oh, yeah, no, he said something, and in which case I'll be glad to be pointed out wrong. He's quick to post about the Epstein files or post about spending. But when the Senate actually did something good, passing the cutting of PBS, NPR, that kind of stuff, the guy disappears. And I think that tells you what you need to know. And it's not enough. We need more. But Elon,
I think that's why he's mad. I think that's why, because $9 billion, that's like a penny to Congress. And I know that they can't get, I know that they probably weren't going to get all of it. I thought that, $9 billion.
Oh, yeah. It's like I say, it's not enough.
It's almost like they're giving that to us to say, look, we did something. You know how they do? Look, see, we did take some Doge cuts. Well, yeah, but dude, U.S. aid was way much more than that,
Well, and I'm just saying, for all his crying, all the things he pointed out, how critical he was of President Trump. So they shut down U.S. aid. They shut down the Department of Education, or they're shutting it down. They laid off a bunch of bureaucrats. they've done a lot of good things. And yesterday it looks like we're going to get another one of the Doge initiatives pushed through. And last night he was tweeting about video games. He was
he still is.
He's like, oh, look at my video games. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you were the first one to throw Trump under the bus. You were the first one to, I'm going to start a new party or whatever. Like, when Congress give credit where credit's due, it's not enough. We demand more. But, like, come on, Elon Musk. Like, don't be a clown.
Yeah, well, he was also, they're $9 billion they save, or what was that with the $9 billion? What kind of cuts?
It was in PBS media. The government sets aside a lot of money that gets used for like broadcast stuff that's supposed to be nonpartisan, educational, but it turns out it's all left-wing propaganda.
Right.
So,
but
if you put USA and
toward that, right? That money was going to that, right? So, okay, so you're talking about $9 billion, but what he was complaining about wasn't, well, in a way that, but if you read it again, he was talking about, wait a minute, we did all that, but then y'all spent $3.7 trillion, or y'all put up $3 trillion or $4 trillion. He was like, that's not helping. That's, you drain $9 billion, but you fill the sink back up with a whole lot of water. But he doesn't understand, and it sucks. But and I always knew he didn't understand government, Jason. I mean, they've been doing that for years. I'm
just saying the fact that they finally, like, legislatively got some stuff passed. It wasn't just Trump executive order and taking action, and it's still got to, make it to the House and all that. But like, nary a peep. And it's like, dude, you were tweeting about everything, and now you're not tweeting about this. Like, come on.
I mean, that's the oh yeah, that's what I was going to read.
Can I, one thing we didn't touch on a lot either, but with this mayoral candidate who's probably going to win Minneapolis election, and we got the guy in New York, can you believe 2 of the largest cities in America are going to be run by a communist, a foreign communists? Like, I remember the day when all Americans were like, communism's bad, like, we shouldn't let them in. And now we're going to have 2 of our biggest cities run by communists.
Yeah, I know. It was breaking news. President Trump was asked if he plans to fire Fed Chair Powell. Trump says not planning on it, but he declined to rule out anything. He also said this: he's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him, but they did. Just a little bit of discrepancy there. Trump appointed Powell in November of 2017, selected him to succeed Janet Yellen, despite Powell being a sitting member of the Fed's Board of Governors. Just found out something too. President Trump called out the Fed because the Fed has a $2.8 billion project. And a lot of the Republicans up there right now, and President Trump are calling out the Fed for, it's like an expansion type of thing. $2.8 billion.
I can't imagine what the hell they're doing for $2.8 billion.
That's crazy. I mean, you know what?
I mean, are they building the underground bunker for the asteroid?
Dude, I was thinking about going up to the wall like Star Trek. Yeah, I like a steak and eggs. Okay, that
right.
But it turns out that this was passed in 2017 under the Trump administration. The 2.8 billion was passed when Jerome Powell went in. Congress agreed to give them $2.8 billion. But the issue is they are at 700 million or 800 million over that. And that's the major issue. I was reading that this morning. So,
well, Jerome Powell not cutting interest rates. It's funny because inflation numbers, like all these financial numbers, are hard to decipher. And everybody wants a simple headline. Hey, here's what it's going to do. We've talked about it on the show. I mean, Trump's doing tax cuts. He's hoping that spurns economic activity. He put in tariffs, which we raised a ton of money off tariffs. Results are showing most of those costs are being absorbed by the manufacturer's margin, not by shoppers. There's some data that might suggest they're getting rolled over to shoppers. But like today, the wholesale inflation data came out, which is the price your retailers are paying for your goods. And their inflation rate was flat, which means prices, and Donald Trump talked about this too. I mean, it's overshadowing all the other stuff. But so your wholesalers' prices are staying flat. So if you're seeing prices on those same goods going up in the store, they're taking advantage of the situation to say, oh, we had to raise prices because of tariffs, when really it's just the companies that are increasing their prices and driving their profit margins up, which is pretty nefarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we lower interest rates, I mentioned it yesterday, but like if you just take baseline numbers, so, you know, several years ago, interest rates on a 30-year fix were like 3%. Now it's like 6 or 7%. That makes your monthly payment on a $400,000 house, so just like a fairly average nationwide average house, that makes your payment $1,000 more a month. And if Jerome Powell lowered the interest rate, that would get the housing market booming. The housing market is such a powerful tool economically because every time you buy a house, you got to buy other stuff for it. And it gets money moving around. The government, you know, taxes every transaction. Like the government just wants money moving around because every time it moves, they make money. They just don't want people sitting on it. But like, I don't know. And we got to refinance the debt. So I have no earthly idea why Powell won't cut the rates. And I don't think Trump's going to fire him. And that is sad. And he should have been appointed in the first place, which was Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He got bad advice.
Yeah, he did. He did. Especially somebody, I mean, dude already worked with, I mean, he doesn't look out for the American people. He probably looks out more for the Fed. So, you know,
right.
I mean, you know, you sit on the board Fed of governors. Good Lord, you know. Anna Paulina and somebody else jumped out there and said that his firing was on the horizon. Okay, you better check with President Trump first before putting out stuff like that, because a lot of people in the past have had eggs on their face when they put out something like that, Max. You know, yeah. I mean, it is what it is, my friends. We'll see if anything moves forward with this later on today. Hopefully, he didn't say anything else about it and starts moving on with something else. And honestly, it's the media's job to ask, but they don't have to be answered. I think that's what I was talking about earlier. They don't have to be answered. You can say, we're done. We're done with the situation. We're done. Over in Israel, real quick, it looks like Netanyahu's in trouble in his government. One of his key governing partners has quit, which is the second in a week. And if you might as well call him an American. Now he's bombed Syria.
Yeah, did you see that? Like, what the hell?
Man, he's just doing it to anybody.
You make me go back to the vodka, Wayne. Like, I saw that this morning. I'm like, Israel doesn't have enough problems going on right now with Iran and Palestine. Okay, guys, I got a great idea. Let's go attack Syria. Are you kidding me?
Hello, how'd you do it again? Go ahead and bomb Syria.
Right. Come on.
Lebanon. Iran.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And bring those bulldozers in. We're gonna take care of the rest of Hamas. We'll take care of the rest of them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't even know. Have you seen anything that said why they bombed Syria?
No.
I was looking for that.
Mm-mm.
And I mean, other than they hate each other and they strike each other all the time. But I'm like, man, when you're in the middle of all this stuff going on, like, who thinks this is a good idea? Syrians are fairly aggressive. Not somebody I want to start a fight with.
And they're already going through their stuff like this. I'll tell you this. I'm going to get pissed if we jump in that one.
Right.
I'm going to be terribly pissed if he says, I need to speak before the American Congress about Syria, or something like that. Man, shut it down.
Well, and here's the thing. You hit the nail 100% on the head. If Israel wants to attack Syria, they already have Iranian stuff going on. They already have Palestinian stuff going on. Totally good with that. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Nope.
I don't have a dog in the fight. But if you're going to come back and talk to the American people or the government, like, hey, guys, guess what? No.
Mm-hmm.
Like, y'all go out there and you want to start all this trouble, go do it. I don't really care. So,
and you know what? I'm starting to think that the money because, they did get some money for the United States or some missiles or weapons. I'm starting to think that he's using our stuff to do this,
he's using our money.
Sure. Yeah. And instead of to the Israeli people, but again, politicians need a distraction.
Right.
So learning this morning that he is now the minority party.
Yep.
Which means that they can probably call for new elections. But guess what? They're in war.
Right. He's pulling a Zelensky. He should set the over-under at how long Zelensky stays in the war declaration so they can't have an election. I think they're a year past their election, if I remember right. Maybe it's 2.
I think it's more. Yeah, I think it's more. I think it's
right.
2. I think it's 2. But yeah, okay, all right, dude. It is what it is. Let's see.
Oh my gosh. And it's funny too. So in the chat they were talking, they're like, oh, like I think it was Terry said you can't call NPR like left-wing propaganda. So I just looked up because we had made some videos for our website and Rumble channel on the Tribune about this NPR CEO, the thing she's pushed. Some of her more famous ones are when she was at Congress and she testified that America is addicted to white supremacy. The words boy and girl are erasing language for non-binary people. She was talking about how equity instead of equality, like all these things that don't belong inserted in national public broadcasting. And you can 100% hold that opinion. You can 100% create that content. You can 100% do all of that. I don't care. But you can't do it when the government's paying for it. Like, and it's kind of like the books in school. There was a story that came out in Minnesota where, and Jen saw it just from friends of hers sharing, there was a local school district that had 3rd graders. Their reading list were things like My Two Dads and stuff like that. And it's like, a 3rd grader's like 8 years old. Like, no, like let them read like See Spot Run. You don't need to bring that stuff, especially if it's government funded. Just like you couldn't bring the Bible into school and say, hey guys, today we're going to read about Noah's Ark. Like we wouldn't allow that. If you want to start your own woke school and people want to do it and they want to teach all that stuff, go for it. But you can't use taxpayer money for that nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did your children go to public, private, public, homeschool?
What did I or my
Your
kids?
children? Yeah, your kids.
All the kids went through public school for high school,
Mhm.
and it was right on the tail end when it was getting really wild. And I mean, it was, how can I say it? The oldest, she 26 now, so do the math. Her biggest complaint was the education standards were so low that, like, she was a pretty good student, but it's like they just didn't, like, she's the one who has a grandbaby who wants to homeschool, and her reason for wanting to homeschool is the quality of education she received she recognized was so bad. So and then the youngest, who he graduated he graduated high school with a 2-year college degree. So his last 2 years, he went to a local community college. And it was funny because, like, when he was young, I'm like, school's going to be super easy for you. You're a pretty smart kid. And he discovered that. And I volunteered a lot in his classrooms. And some of the things they were teaching and the ages at which they were teaching it were pretty ridiculous. But the kids' biggest complaints were the education quality is just so bad. It's, oh, dude.
Yeah, my that Common Core that we were talking about yesterday,
Right.
That went into effect after my girls left middle school.
Oh, really?
High school. Middle school. High school. Yeah, middle school. Yeah. Because they were bringing it in the curriculum of middle school when they left. Yep.
It's just so bad. And it's funny. I'm so happy they're defunding the Department of Education, because in my lifetime, I can't name a single thing that has improved by getting the government involved. Like, every time the government gets involved with something, it becomes less efficient, more expensive, less, less possible to have these things happen. And it's really sad, because our government used to be able to do cool things. We used to have big infrastructure projects, or
we
build the railroad or whatever. And it's just the bureaucracy has totally destroyed things. And anybody who makes the argument we need the Department of Education, like, show me one metric that's improved since we instituted all these things federally, other than the graduation rate. The only number that's gone way up is the graduation rate. Like, how good they are, how smart they are, what they know, all that stuff's gone down. Costs have gone up. All that's gone up. The only thing that's gone down, or the only thing that's gone up, is your graduation rate, because we just push everybody through.
Yeah. I mean, and many of us have seen kids get pushed through high school, especially the ones that look like they were 35 years old.
Right.
With the full beard and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Still in high school, but looking like a wolf.
Well, I gotta say, there's a lot of active stuff going in the chat talking about how bad California education is, and Becky Mel just can't write in cursive.
Believe me, y'all.
Signing a mortgage. Francis,
education is bad everywhere.
My boomer mind seems content about my education. Teachers, I guess I was lucky. Kev, blue states will continue to have bad schools, launder the money. Red schools will flourish. Dragon Love, my grandson can write cursive and went to Florida public schools. So schools are all over the board. I mean, there's still some local control over it. And I think overall, getting the federal government out of it will improve. But I think Francis hit a good point. When we went to school as old people, like, schools were pretty good. I remember I learned multivariable calculus in high school. And like,
what?
Yeah, seriously, like, there are advanced programs. They had all these things that if you were smart and could do stuff, they had all these challenging courses. And yeah, I learned multivariable calculus, which was like a college level course. Yeah. But like, those opportunities were available. Now, we also did a lot of, like, shop and that kind of stuff, which I failed all that. Like, I was not the build something guy. But, like, we taught those skills. Like, people would graduate high school knowing how to fix a car, knowing how to fix oil, knowing how to run a table saw, all those sorts of things.
Well, when I graduated in 1986, when I went to the high school part, we had, wait a minute, no, this was middle school. Oh my gosh. This was like in 6th through 8th grade. We had shop.
Yep.
And we had home ec. We had those they call those electives, but
yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, and
I learned how to sew buttons and spin a bobbin, and
I made my own pants, man. I mean, honestly, I think that's where I learned to love cooking, because we made breakfast there in the thing. I was like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. So
I mean, how did kids graduate and not know how to do their taxes?
Now, when I went to high school, I took an elective, which was that had to do with not banking, but it was something like that. But they taught us how to balance your checkbook. You know, and they showed, and they tested us on that, and then I took a typing class. I don't know why I took a typing class, because there was a whole lot of pretty girls in there, you know, and when you walked in there,
took home ec or type.
And it was a whole lot of girls in home ec too, but it was me. It was me and this other dude, and they're like, "Come on, man, let's take it." All right, let's go ahead and take it. But typing class, you get in there, Jason. It was those old IBM typewriters, those big, thick, dude. They didn't have no letters on the keys. They were black keys all the way. And you know, when you walk in, you're walking around to find your seat. You're trying to find one that got the keys on there, and then you realize none of them have keys.
Right.
So they show you what the keys. They show you what the keys were on the wall, and then they say, now you're going to learn how to do this without looking down at the watchcard. So,
it's funny too. You said that about balancing the checkbook, and so yesterday, I can't remember who it was. One of the Democrat politicians posted something about how awful Republicans were and how they're in the pocket of big banks because they won't let us pass this legislation to ban overdraft fees. And I replied, and I got a bunch of hate from the lefties that follow them. But I'm like, I am an adult. I know how to balance a checkbook. And the last thing I need is the government to protect me from overdraft fees because I can balance a checkbook. Like my dad taught me that when I was young. And if you think about just that as a microcosm, like we don't teach people basic financial skills in high school. And then they get out in the real world. And I'm not saying banks aren't predatory with overdraft fees. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the single best way to solve that problem is making sure people are financially literate and make sure they're not getting overdraft fees, because that is a 100% preventable issue. And if it is preventable, why on earth do you need any government involvement to get involved with it? It's the most bizarre thing ever. And if you think about that, there are these people in America that just that still function in society that think, rather than just letting people be accountable for their overdraft fees, like if your bank has too high fees, go to another bank. Like, it's not rocket science. I have 100 banks within 20 miles of my house, But so either get a bank that doesn't do that or just quit having overdraft fees. I remember one of the kids overdrafted when they were young, and they were a stubborn kid who didn't want to learn the balance of checkbook. My dad taught me the trick, put an extra $100 in there so that if you end up a few bucks over, you're fine. You don't get pinched or whatnot. Got hit with, it was like $100 in overdraft fees. It was like 5 overdrafts. And he's like, hey, how about you sit down and let's learn how to balance a checkbook? And he came to us He's like, okay, I didn't want to learn this, but I think this is a valuable life skill.
Oh man. Dude, you a couple of weeks ago, you talked about the flooding and stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Did you see New York?
Dude, they're like 8 states.
God, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not a climate change guy.
I'm not either. I'm not. But I start asking questions there for a little bit.
Right.
In my mind, I was like, were we wrong? Yeah, for real. I'm like, were we wrong? Because that water, some dude was like, he had opened up he couldn't close his car door because the water was all the way up to his car. He was standing on the side of it. But the water's just sweeping the cars away because it's so high. I was in New York,
Yeah, New York got hit, North Carolina. And I mentioned it when I brought it up last week, and I haven't found any data. Is it one of those things we just didn't talk about or didn't see the stories, or is it one of those things where it's worse than before? And it's like when we were talking about the airplane stuff 6 months ago, it's like, are the frequency up, or is it just people are talking about it? And the stat showed that the frequency was about the same. It's just more people were talking about it, and nobody's heard about an airplane issue since. So, but yeah, the flooding stuff's weird. And there's actual cloud seeding companies down in Texas that are testifying about, you get geoengineering and all that. And I mean, I so want to get out the tinfoil hat because I think that, there's documented cases where people are manipulating the weather, trying to get it to rain in the desert and that kind of thing. And I always worry about stuff like that. Like, you just don't know where it's going to go with that.
But I understand, it's like the white van thing, we talk about it on the show, and then for the next 3 days we go out and we see a white van everywhere. It's like, I didn't know what all these white vans were running. I understand that, yes, we are in the hurricane season and stuff like, but I'm probably like you. We look at weather over the past years, and we see Florida and the Gulf of Mexico and Louisiana get stuff, but not floods like this.
Right.
This thing is up in New York City.
Right.
It's not New York City, ladies and gentlemen. New York City is not South Carolina. It's not Georgia. It's north. Yeah, I thought about you.
Yeah, and you wonder how much of that is like infrastructure. They didn't have the proper drainage, or, is there a reasonable explanation? But all that weather manipulation stuff, like I'm deep in like chemtrails, like you name it, I'm there with you guys. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes. But it's funny because, like, you see, there's government files where we've had government agencies that have been experimenting with weather manipulation, and it's funny. It's kind of like the nuclear bomb, right? So when they tested the first nuclear bomb, they're like, okay, when this thing goes off, and it ended up being way bigger than they thought, like, this could start a chain reaction that destroys the Earth. Like, we don't really know, like, when the nuclear reaction stops. And they tested it anyways. And I look at the weather stuff like that, where it's like, we're going to start messing with the weather and change weather patterns and get it to rain over here, over there, do cloud seeding. And I'm like, when does that stop? How does that not become catastrophic?
Yeah. All right. Wow. What an hour.
What an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah. Speaker Johnson calls on Trump to release Epstein files. Yeah. I saw that last night. You can read more about it on the Dupree Report.com. And wait. Yes. Now I know the Trump administration they can get rid of Powell legitimately. And I mentioned it earlier. It's that expansion thing. Is that renovation thing. And Powell has called in a independent investigator to investigate why it's $700 or $800 million over. Now again, the Congress approved the $8.9 billion, no, $2 billion, whatever. It was over $1 billion expansion for the Fed. God darn. They must be eating on gold china plates with that.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no gold in Fort Knox, so maybe that's where they used it.
That's where it is.
Are we ever going to get Fort Knox?
Nope. Isn't it funny? That just went right off the scale, didn't it? We're going to go check it out. And nope.
No, you're not. No, you're not, because if it's not there, you don't want to tell anybody it's not.
Or, it could have been, we're going to go to Fort Knox. And we're going to we're going to talk to Jason first. And we're going to go to Fort Knox.
Do your day drinking early, folks.
Jason, give me some last thoughts. Let's get out of here.
All right. Well, a few thoughts. Thought one, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's great to see the chats popping off. It's great to see all this fun stuff going on. We love coming here, hanging out with you guys. Do us a favor, though. Like, comment, share. Helps the show get reach. So we appreciate that. Thought two, and it kind of ties into my earlier comment about talking about the banks and the overdraft fees and that kind of thing. I'm just going to say this is part of my worldview, and I recommend people thinking like chew on this. If your solution to a problem is we need more government, you need to think harder about the solution, because the government's not going to solve your problems. And that's my biggest thing when it comes to overdraft fees or any of those sorts of discussions. Everybody always comes out with, oh, well, we just need to pass a rule or get the government involved. Never is the government getting involved has it improved problems.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to understand. So if your reflexive action is to say, well, but we need this, I would seek another solution. And I would encourage politicians that seek other solutions, because the government, they just don't make things better. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of looking forward for an Epstein take tomorrow night. Tucker is interviewing Martyr Maid, Daryl Cooper, who is kind of a cool historian. I like some of his stuff. So Tucker's going to interview him and have a take on the Epstein stuff. I suspect he's going to go deep into the intelligence community angle. I could be wrong, but Martyr Maid, I like some of the stuff he covers. It's pretty good. So that might be a fun watch Thursday night. And then on the funnier things, and final thought for the day, as all these agencies are shutting down, NPR shut down, USAID. I remember back when I was supporting President Trump the first time, and one of my buddies looked at me and says, he's going to go in there like a bull in a china shop and just destroy the government. And I looked at my buddy and I said, you know what? I was already going to vote for him, but you've just convinced me more. I want this government shrunk. I want power back to the American people. I want everybody to have a renewed sense of personal ownership, power, and responsibility. And I am so thankful I have President Trump to lead that. Now let's release the Epstein files and move on.
Those bank fees, are like taxes, right?
Kinda.
Yeah, in a way. They're collecting bank fees, collecting taxes. They're just taking it from us, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a business, not a government, but
yeah.
similar.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all tomorrow.